Which American town has built a shaded viewing platform so that visitors can watch birds swimming around in their sewage lagoon? The answer is coming up next in Twits and Pishers, the birdwatching show. Welcome to the most popular birdwatching spot in all of North America. This is southeastern Arizona. Specifically, I'm standing in the Florida Wash at the base of the Santa Rita Mountains. There's snow here in the Florida Wash today. This is not perhaps the best time to come to southeastern Arizona if you want to see a lot of birds, but you know, what the heck, it'll all come out in the wash, as they say. My guest today is Kenn Kaufman, a very well-known birder and the author of the Peterson Field Guide to Advanced Birding. Excellent book. Everyone should have one in their vest, if they have a vest. And we're going to head up the wash a bit and then into the Santa Ritas and see what we can see. The prime birding destinations in Arizona are the grasslands, deserts, and mountains south and east of Tucson. The Santa Rita Mountains are a big draw for both birds and birders in Arizona, and the first place most birders stop is at the feeders outside the rustic but legendary Santa Rita Lodge. That's where I met up with Kenn Kaufman, and there were plenty of birds to admire when we arrived. Ooh, things are really happening at these feeders.
A lot of activity. Yeah.
And the jays, these are all Mexican jays, is that right?
Yeah, interesting name change going on with that. Mm-hmm. It used to be Mexican jay. The name was changed to gray-breasted jay, and now they're changing it back to Mexican jay, just to give the professionals something to do.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. They're really mobbing the feeders today, maybe because it was cold last night. But they're always in flocks. They're such sociable birds.
Mm-hmm. You're saying they're a really quiet jay, too.
Yeah, they talk to each other, but they're not as strident as a lot of the jays are.
There's a coatimundi.
Wow, that's amazing. There are coatis around here, but we almost never see them in the daytime.
Yeah, how about that, right?
At the feeders.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, we're supposed to be looking at birds here.
Oh yeah, okay. So what have we got?
Lots of juncos.
Both the dark-eyed and the yellow-eyed here?
Right. Most of the dark-eyeds here are the gray-headed type. They look a lot like the yellow-eyed. Wow, that fierce-eyed expression.
Yeah, they really...
Fierce-eyed junco would be a better name.
Fierce-eyed, or psycho-eyed junco. And oh, hey, look, a hummer at that feeder over there.
Yeah, female magnificent hummingbird. That's great.
Magnificent indeed.
Yeah, but they're common enough here in summer, but this is pretty late in the fall for them to still be around.
That's such a beautiful, big hummingbird.
Yeah, wow, glistening green on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Less white in the tail than a blue-throated hummingbird would have. It's almost the size of the blue-throated. Actually has a longer bill for its size.
Fantastic.
Oh, I hear painted redstart.
Painted redstart? I would love to see a painted redstart.
Could go after it.
Let's do that. Let's see if we can find a painted redstart.
But this is one of my favorite trees over here. This big juniper. It's been a home to a whole colony of acorn woodpeckers for years.
There's one now.
Yeah.
Acorn woodpeckers. Gotta like acorn woodpeckers.
Oh, with a name like that, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Handsome birds, intelligent.
Intelligent. Yeah, well, at least they're sociable. They're in family groups all year round. If we watched long enough, probably would see 5 or 6 birds come in here. They actually nest in groups. The young birds in a nest will be fed not just by their parents, but by 5 or 6 other birds. So
Is that right?
Living in a group, and they work together on these. They call them granary trees. You can see the big vertical limbs there are drilled full of holes, and they stuff acorns into those holes. They'll actually, as the acorns dry, they harvest the acorns while they're still fairly fresh and green. And as the acorns dry up a bit, they shrink, and so they'll move them into smaller holes, so it takes a lot of maintenance. But then they can live on those acorns for much of the year.
So they must have hundreds, if not thousands, of holes in acorns here, don't they?
That's right, probably thousands. And each colony is going to have several trees around here with the holes and the acorns stored. Oh. But most of the trees here, most of the understory here is oak trees.
Right.
So they're surrounded by food supplies all the time.
They've really done a number on the buildings here too, haven't they?
Oh, they have. Yeah, that's been that's one of the attractions of Santa Rita Lodge is all the acorn woodpecker holes around the windows.
It's a good alarm clock.
That's right. Yeah, you don't have to worry about sleeping late.
Well, that's just my favorite woodpecker without a doubt.
Well, I can certainly understand that.
Acorn woodpeckers are especially good subjects for people who enjoy watching bird behavior, and the Santa Rita Mountains are an especially good place to find them, along with various other species of birds that are generally uncommon elsewhere. Why is that? As Ken explained it to me, it has to do with the geography of southeastern Arizona.
You've got the Rockies to the north and the Sierra Madre to the south in Mexico that are really extensive ranges, but then here in southeast Arizona it's little islands of habitat, and they all have their own distinct mix of bird life. For example, the Catalinas are only 50 miles to the north of here, but the Catalinas have mountain chickadees, and there are none down here in the Santa Ritas.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but conversely, the elegant trogons nest here in the Santa Ritas in good numbers, and there are none up in the Catalinas.
Right. And the trogon, that's such a wonderful bird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at the right time of year, that's the bird that really brings in the birders too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there are always crowds of birders here in May looking for the trogons, and with good reason.
Yeah, I've been here in May, I've looked for it, always just barely missed it. But it's a good excuse to come back again. Look at this thing. This is the most fantastic bird, the elegant trogon. It's actually kind of nice to be here at a time of year when there are no trogons, because I don't have to worry about the fact that I've never seen the trogon. I can just enjoy the winter birds.
Well, that's a good point. If we were looking for the trogon, we'd be hiking around the upper part of the canyon, but this time of year most of the birds are down low, so actually why don't we go back down to the wash and look for birds there?
Good idea.
Ken and I returned to the Florida Wash to try our luck at calling in some songbirds. It's a pleasant thing to do, standing around in the wide open spaces making funny noises at the bushes.
Kinglet coming up here.
Kinglet, how about that?
There it is. It's coming up again at the base of the mesquite.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at responding to these things.
Oh yeah, this is. That's better than nothing.
A lot better than nothing.
Perfectly happy to see that.
Okay. Now you want to move on along the wash and look for another spot?
Yeah, let's do that. So Ken, you've been living here in Arizona and birding since you were a teenager. How long do you think it takes to become a good birder here or elsewhere for that matter?
Well, actually, John, I have my own definition of what it takes to be a good birder. I think that a good birder is anyone who enjoys birding. And a great birder would be someone who enjoys birding a lot. So the way I look at it, someone could be a great birder the first time they go out in the field. And the important thing is just to remember this is an enjoyable thing to do. Don't get hung up on the birds that are really hard to identify, and enjoy the ones that you see.
I couldn't agree more. Excellent advice.
I just had to stop and marvel at the sewage lagoons just east of the town of Sierra Vista. Very nice sewage lagoons. Ken didn't want to bother since he feels that birding is more than just birds in the sewage and birds at the bird feeders. And to be honest, I have to admit that I agree. Either way, the viewing platform was closed that day, so we had to settle for some distant views of waterfowl, quite a few species I might add, as well as a good close look at a screaming red-tailed hawk. For wild birds in a natural setting, it's hard to beat the San Pedro Riparian National Conservation Area, and that was the final destination for Ken and I on our southeastern Arizona tour. When we arrived, we were greeted by a few western meadowlarks, familiar birds that reminded me of summertime on the Canadian prairies.
So it's really quite a mixed bag here at this time of year, isn't it?
It is. Actually, down here in the lowlands, sort of along the edge of the river, there's a better mix of birds during the winter than there is in summer. Some of the specialty birds that people think of in Arizona are just around during the summer months, but winter is really a better time for variety along the rivers.
Ooh, what's that call out there?
Oh yeah, loggerhead shrike. Yeah, over here.
Oh, how about that? How about that? I've never heard them call before.
Well, they're really musical. You wouldn't expect it. Something that lives as a butcher bird. It's actually quite a musician too.
Yeah, right, yeah. Oh, and it looks like it's got something too, doesn't it?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, large, juicy insect. Great.
Oh, it's even sticking it on the spines of the plant. The way they do.
The way they're supposed to, yes.
What else have we got here?
Oh, a group of white-crowned sparrows up here.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, nice adult up there on top.
Yeah, beautiful. Very boldly patterned bird.
Yeah, sparrows are beautiful birds, right?
Yeah.
Actually, all the white crowns we get wintering down here are from Western Canada.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the ones from the Rockies in the U.S. They go farther south for the winter. So these are all good Canadian birds wintering here. Hey, what's this? Oh, brewer's sparrow up here.
Yeah, this is starting to remind me more and more of birding in Western Canada and in the summer or the fall, I guess.
Yeah, well, it should. A lot of these are year birds. Vesper sparrow coming up over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look nice this time of year. They're in fresh plumage. They actually look better in winter than they do in summer.
That's a good looking bird.
Well, these are all migrants. None of these sparrows we're seeing here are going to be around here in summertime.
Well, let's try to call some more some more birds in here.
And oh, there's Savannah sparrow out here.
Oh man, there's just one sparrow after another. This is really quite enjoyable. That's a hard bird to recognize for me.
Yeah, they're responsible for a lot of human suffering. Savannah sparrows, they look like, they don't look like much. They have lots of little stripes. They sit up in the open where you can see them, so they're available for causing confusion. But that real short-tailed look is helpful.
Oh yeah, okay, as opposed to a song sparrow or something like that?
Yeah, a lot shorter-tailed than a song or a Lincoln's.
Oh, there's a lovely red-tailed hawk going by. Oh, he's nice.
Oh yeah.
That one has a bit of a belly band. That's more like a Canadian version of the red-tailed hawk.
Right, that may well be a migrant from farther north. We get lots of red tails coming down in winter from Western Canada that they show every range of variation in terms of color. Cinnamon-colored birds and blackish and really pale. But the really white-bellied ones are mostly the resident birds.
Oh, and there's a thrasher.
Where?
Just on the right down in the pile there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, curve-billed thrashers. Wow, great. Yeah, those are permanent residents here. I mean, not all of our birds here are things that have come down from the north. The curve-bills are great. They have a lot of personality.
The fact is that all birds have personality, even the dull brown canyon towhee, which is a type of sparrow, of course. Don't you like the way they kick around in the leaves looking for food? It's like a little dance, very typical of the sparrow and towhee group. Another Arizona critter with personality is the tarantula, and Ken and I were delighted to see one out for a stroll in broad daylight.
Oh, here's a Say's phoebe out here on the post.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, it's gone.
Oh, it ought to come back. They usually come back to the same perch.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, here it comes.
There we go. Oh, so handsome. Bit of a tail wagger.
Yeah,
You know, that's
great.
That's a Badlands bird back in Alberta.
Well, in Alberta, the habitats are so rich that it goes to the driest habitat available. But in Arizona, since this is such a dry area, you find them close to the rivers.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a nice bird.
Oh, you got
Yellow-rumped warbler up there.
Oh, right. Yeah, they stay through the winter here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's our most common winter warbler.
You have bugs all winter here too.
Well,
What
that's
a paradise.
Right. That's right. Yeah,
I
it's
like
one
it
of
here.
the great advantages. Bugs all winter, bugs all summer, and birds all year.
Birds all year, and not a bad place to visit at any season. The fact that Ken and I could find so many species of birds in November, the off-season, is proof that southeastern Arizona deserves its reputation as a birding hotspot. 67 species of birds was not a bad total for this trip. Some of them were northern migrants, some were desert specialties, and others were Mexican birds in the mountains of southeastern Arizona. Our grand total to date is 158, so we're rapidly creeping up on our goal of 200 species. Before calling it quits for the day, we decided to hang out along the banks of the San Pedro River on the off chance that a green kingfisher might happen by.
Oh yeah, here's the Lincoln sparrow.
I took some photographs while Ken settled back to sketch a Lincoln sparrow.
I started sketching birds in the field initially just because it gave me a way of seeing things more clearly. When you're looking at a bird intently enough to be able to draw it, you see details that you wouldn't see otherwise. And so I find that even if the results aren't works of art, which they're not, the real value that I get out of it is just seeing more of the bird, seeing more detail and being able to appreciate it more than I would otherwise. Trying to draw a small bird that moves around a lot is really a challenge. You have to try to get a sense of the characteristic postures, the poses they come back to over and over, and then get a good mental image of that and try to get the shape down very quickly. And then as the bird moves around, you can look at it some more and try to fill in the details as they become visible. When I'm drawing birds in the field, I usually just do it in pencil, simple black and white drawings, because once you start trying to draw in color, you have to take along paints or lots of different colored pencils, and it immediately becomes a lot more complicated. I do sometimes take colored pencils, but the thing I'm mostly after is the shape and the posture, and the markings, and color can come later. To go from these rough sketches in the field to a finished painting, I can't just go in and paint totally from the drawings I've done out in the wild, because there are fine details on the feathers that are hard to come up with, even with the best of binoculars. So I do go down to the museum and check details against the specimens there. I think the main thing it takes to be able to draw birds is just to go out and make the effort and be willing to accept the fact that the first few efforts may not look very good. And I did early drawings that I certainly wouldn't want to show to anyone today, but the important thing was that I learned a lot just by making the attempt. I find that today I really enjoy the drawing of birds. It's relaxing. I have to get into a different kind of mental state to be able to draw. And when I go to a new area and I'm seeing new birds for the first time now, I don't feel that I've really seen them until I've had a chance to draw them.
We never did see the green kingfisher, but that just gives me a good excuse to come back sometime soon. I like Arizona in the winter, and I just love those wide open spaces.
Well, would you take a look at that? Totally silent landscape, not a single bird in sight. That's kind of nice after visiting all these super popular birding spots loaded with birds. You can relax in a place like this. That's Mexico over there. I'll bet if I start walking now, I could be there by the time the sun goes down. Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
And don't forget our title contest. Send in your suggestions, or if you like the title Twits and Pishers, do tell us why.